Hi everyone, my name is Liza. As you might already know, I'm a nutritionist at Atlas and I specialize in gut microbiome. So at Atlas, we make at-home test kits that allow people to check their gut bacteria. Interestingly, there are trillions of bacteria living in our gut. And every day they do a lot of different important functions. So for example, they can break down undigested foods like fiber in the gut into things like vitamins and short-chain fatty acids, for example, butyrate. And if there is some imbalance within this bacterial composition, this can actually contribute to things like constipation, diarrhea, gas and bloating. So it's really interesting to actually know which bacteria live in your gut and in which proportions. So in this video, I will be discussing FIBRE FODMAPS and how these food components affect our digestion, microbiome, and overall health. So let's talk about fiber and gut health. So one important thing to know is that fiber absorbs water and that essentially adds the bulk to the stool. So when we talked about constipation in the previous video, I told you that it is important for us to get enough fiber, particularly from whole grains, in order to prevent constipation and have regular bowel movements. Another important quality of fiber is that it helps us to feel fuller for longer. It also helps to regulate the blood sugar levels, so we don't have big spikes in blood sugar and big drop in blood sugar levels. And so it gives us this sort of more stable energy and more stable mood throughout the day. Now, another really important quality of fiber is that essentially it is a food for our gut bacteria, for our gut microbes. You might have heard of the term prebiotic. So prebiotics are types of fibers that are particularly good to fuel our gut microbes. So some of them are called inulin, phos, gos. So overall, fiber is really important because remember, fiber is not really food for us, it's more food for our gut microbes, gut bacteria. So a really cool feature we have in the Atlas Microbiome Test Report is butyrate synthesis potential. So first of all, what is butyrate? Butyrate is one of the short-chain fatty acids. And short-chain fatty acids are these superhero chemicals that we really love. And essentially, butyrate has been shown to control or suppress inflammation in the gut. It helps to take care of the gut lining. So it's really a kind of healthy chemical, healthy short-chain fatty acids to have. Now, of course, what we need to know is that our bacteria can produce butyrate and other short-chain fatty acids. And what we can do, we can take care of our microbes, we can treat them well so that in return they can produce enough butyrate. So in the Atlas report, you get a score on what's the potential of your microbes to synthesize, to make butyrate. And why I really love this feature and why I think it's really useful, because when you make some changes to your diet, let's say, or you maybe start taking a supplement or fiber supplement or probiotic, you can actually check whether that is making any difference. So what I advise to do is to take one test and then start making some changes to your diet, to your lifestyle, and maybe taking some probiotics. And then after a few months, you retest and you actually see whether that is making any difference in terms of your butyrate synthesis. So another property of fiber is it can help to lower cholesterol levels. Now, it's not necessarily directly related to gut health, but we know that having healthy cholesterol levels is really, really important. And also fiber helps to reduce the risk of some common diseases, chronic diseases, such as type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and even some form of cancer, such as colon cancer, for example. So let's now talk about potential side effects of consuming too much fiber, because there is such thing as too much fiber. So if we add a lot of fiber suddenly to our diet, we might be experiencing some digestive discomfort, some bloating and gas, which to a degree is normal. So that's why it's advised to more gradually introduce more fiber into our diets. Now, some people are often sensitive to a group of fermentable carbohydrates, and they are called FODMAPs. So FODMAP stands for fermentable oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides, and polyols. So two things can happen when we eat a lot of the FODMAP carbohydrates. So number one is that excess water can be drawn to the intestines, and that can lead to loose poop. Another thing is that these FODMAPs, these types of carbohydrates, they can be rapidly fermented by our gut bacteria, and that can lead to excess gas and bloating. So some people are particularly sensitive to these FODMAPs. So let's look at each of these FODMAP foods individually. So oligosaccharides, the examples would be your beans and pulses, also some whole grains like wheat and rye, and also things like inulin. So inulin is one of these oligosaccharides. It could be added to foods such as sports bars and some of the sports supplement. Now, the next one is disaccharides. So disaccharide stands for two simple sugars attached together. So example could be lactose. And then by our bodies, lactose, by a specific enzyme, lactose is being broken down into glucose and galactose. So the other one is monosaccharide. So monosaccharide means one simple sugar. An example could be fructose. So we know that fructose is found in many fruits, and also is found in fruit juices, and it can also be found in things like high corn fructose syrup. And the last one, polyols. Now, polyols are interesting. They are a type of sugar alcohols, and they are quite highly fermentable in the gut. So that's why some people can be extra sensitive to these polyols. Examples are malitol, xylitol, sorbitol, and isovolt. So I do want to say as a disclaimer that if you want to try a low FODMAP diet, and if you think that it might help you, then you really need to be guided by a professional who is trained in low FODMAP diet. Now, the best people to do it is a dietitian. So they are trained to support people on a low FODMAP diet, and also low FODMAP diet is not meant to be a long-term diet. It's like really quite a short-term intervention. So please be mindful about that. So don't do it by yourself independently and not be supported by a healthcare professional.